Sadness hits everybody differently, but it always has this same quiet seriousness to it. And I don't think that's because sadness is dramatic. I think it's because it's honest. Every time I've felt real sadness in my life, it wasn't chaos. It was a shift to where I couldn't pretend anymore. Like my whole system had to stop reaching for what was next, and it just had to sit with what was actually here. And that sounds simple, right? But it's actually a big psychological pivot. The accuracy of sadness. Sadness isn't a malfunction. It's a response that makes sense once you stop trying to escape it. It shows up when the real thing shows up. Like no drama, no lesson, just the truth. And it's just sitting there, whether you like it or not. We think we're overwhelmed, but we're just seeing things clearly for the first time in a while. Sadness doesn't negotiate. It has this way of telling you the truth before you're ready to hear it. It's just like, this is how things are, and there's no way around it. Some people live with a steady low hum of sadness, not grief, not depression, just more of a way that they actually orient to the world, like sadness as a personality. That's not the sadness that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the sadness that interrupts you, the one that shows up when something in your life shifts or breaks or grows, the kind that feels heavier than usual because there's actual work going on in the background. Grief is its own world, and so is depression. What I'm describing is the kind of sadness that shows up right before your life gets a little bit more honest. Where it comes from. Is sadness inherent to just being alive? Or is it only learned through experience, right? Like an old bitter man. He didn't just pop out of the womb that way. He thought something would hold and something didn't. Somewhere along the line, he got his heart broken. I think that we hold life really high. We put life on a pedestal. We want life to go off in full technicolor. And when it doesn't, that's when we gather sadness. That's when the unfamiliar change takes a hold of us. That's when we gather evidence as to why it just hurts. But what's really strange is even people who got everything they ever wanted, they still have piercing waves of sadness. So if it's unavoidable, what is it trying to teach us? What sadness is really doing? When you're sad, your brain stops chasing. That's literally what's happening. Your limbic system pulls back, your dopamine drops, you move out of anticipation. You stop going, what's next? And you start going, oh, this is what this means. Psychologists see sadness as a processing state. Regulation, orientation, memory work, clarity, identity updating. All this stuff is happening in the background. But the strange part is you don't notice any of this. You just feel weight. Sadness is doing this really meticulous pass on your memories, a clean pass, so that the current moment can actually land. And it's rearranging your identity around what changed. And that's why it feels so heavy. Not because it's bad, but because sadness is just doing actual and unavoidable work. Where it first hit me, I've always been strangely fond of sadness. Before I even knew what it was, I was reaching for it. I remember when I was 11 or 12, mind you, before puberty hit, I would steal my mom's Brian McKnight CDs and I would put them in my Walkman and I would cruise the neighborhood on my BMX bike and try to feel a breakup. And I hadn't even kissed a girl yet. And I think that just somewhere in my little psyche, I knew how honest sadness could be. So I was trying to reach for it. But when my dog died a couple years ago, my sweet boy of 15 years, that sadness wasn't just grief. That was the moment my entire sense of how life works shifted. It brought everything I was avoiding up to the surface all at once. And I didn't have language for it at the time. It just brought life right up to my face in a way that I couldn't fix or solve. And that's what sadness is doing. It's updating your reality long before you have emotions to deal with it. What Rilke saw before psychology did. Rilke has this passage that I've gone back to 100 times, and I'm not going to paraphrase it. Paraphrasing it would ruin it. So here's the heart. Almost all our sadnesses are moments of tension that we find paralyzing because we can no longer hear the feelings living within us. We stand in the middle of a transition where we cannot endure being changed. The new thing has entered into our heart, has gone into its innermost chamber, and is already in our blood. We do not learn what it is. We are changed as a house is changed when a guest has entered. Many signs indicate that the future enters us in this way so that it can transform itself in us long before it happens. The first time I read that, something in me just settled. He's describing the psychological part that we don't really talk about, which is sadness is the moment the future starts rearranging you before you understand why, what sadness is really telling you. So if sadness feels deep, it's not because you're broken or weak or dramatic or suffering. It's because something in your life is shifting you into a more accurate version of yourself. Sadness is the emotional delay between what happened and who you're going to be once it stops hurting. And it's something that none of us are ever going to brag about, but it's something that might be the most important and the thing that we all have to go through if you're in it right now. If you're in a sad season right now, don't rush it. There are things still settling. There are things you don't understand yet because you're still inside them. And if you try to rush out of them, you will carry the same confusion forward. Sadness has a way of revealing what actually mattered to you, showing you where you were attached, showing you where you hoped things would be different, and where you were avoiding a truth because it just hadn't asked you yet. When that process finishes, something shifts. Things feel simpler, clearer. You feel more honest and more aligned with what's actually true. And you see where you were holding on to out of fear. And I think what you were ignoring out of hope. And once it's done, you're just different. Just let it do its job. You don't have to romanticize sadness. You don't have to fight it. You just have to understand it. Sadness is your system just trying to update you. That's all. And once the update is complete, the world stops looking blurry again. I believe in you. Check out this one next.